Welcome to Unbiased. I'm your humble host, Will. I'm back at you with another video. Before I get into this video, can you please like and share and subscribe to the video and to the channel? On a new platform, I'm trying to grow. And also comment on the video as well. They also helps out with the algorithm. And I will reply back as long as your comment is respectful. So let's get into the video. But the topic of this video is what you believe in. And before you start calling me crazy and all these type of things, just remember who's running the country. We got a crazy man up in Washington D.C. running the free world, and just keep that in mind. I'm not going to even get into Trump. So, all right, so let's get into it. A lot of people believe in certain stuff. Some people don't believe in things of supernatural. We're gonna dive in it. We're gonna dive in it. And if that's not what you want to listen to, go to another video, another channel, whatever. But we're gonna try to connect the dots. That's what I'm here for. And I'm here to open people's eyes, and I'm really gonna get at the people who swear they woke. We're gonna see how woke are you. So let's start off with the Bible, right? If you believe in God, you believe in Satan. It's gonna be good, it's gonna be bad. You can't believe in Satan if you don't believe. You can't believe in Satan and don't believe in God. They go hand in hand, right? That's what I'm saying, right? So if you believe in God, you believe in Satan, you also believe in angels, and you believe in demons. They both exist, right? All right. We have demons among us, if you don't believe it or not. Demons do enter people bodies. They take over people's bodies. Um, you watch so many scary movies, and you see scary movies on that are related to demons. That they do enter people's bodies. You see that, and you be like, The Exorcist is one movie that could come right off my head. It's The Exorcist, and they got a series of those. And people be like, "Oh, that ain't real. That ain't real. That ain't." Well, if you go to church and you see the pastor lay hands on people, why is he laying hands on people? Why is he praying for folks? They got demons in them. He's getting the demons out of them. If you go to church and you really pay attention, and you see the deacons and the elderly people who be in the church gather around a certain person, that's what they're doing. So that is real. You can say, you can deny it all you want. That is real. But there's also angels are real. Angels be in people bodies as well. And it's so crazy because when you see demons get into people and they're attacking folks and they're trying to, do all this bad stuff, which we see every day in the world, people getting killed for no reason, or people just trying to attack people for no reason. And then they finally grab that person. That person don't even know why they was doing anything because they had a demon in them, and the demon fled them for whatever reason. Angels get in people too, because I done met a lot of angels throughout my years, and I had aunties and uncles who were angels, and they were so nice. They're so nice. They're so, it could be a lot of bad stuff happen to them in their life, and they're still happy. They walk around with a smile on their face. They always happy. They always give you good words of encouragement. Those are angels. We don't speak about that all the time. In this channel on bias, I'm gonna speak on a lot. I'm gonna speak about a lot of stuff that people just don't talk about. They're afraid to talk about it. That's why I created this small platform and hoping it'll grow to bring light to these things. Um, so if demons are real, angels are real. Let's go on to the next. Witches and warlocks are real. Throughout my time in my life, I had ran across some witches. I haven't seen any warlocks. Warlocks are guys who do black magic. And, of course, witches are women who do black magic. People don't believe that either until either somebody close to them that gets involved in, or it happens to them. But society as a whole kind of shut down a lot of this stuff. They tell you a lot of this stuff ain't real. They try to keep the people in blind, or what they say in the matrix, because they don't want them being afraid. And that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to make you aware of all this stuff is real. Basically, that's what I'm doing. Uh, you do have to be aware of demons. You know, I think when you see a person that's considered an angel, you need to, gravitate to that person and get as much information you can from that person, because that's going to help you a long way. And also, praying to God, no doubt about it, and living the life that God wants you to live, it's going to help you as well. But He didn't ever say it was going to be easy. It's going to be tough. You're going to have tough days. You're going to have tough nights, right? But your faith shouldn't waver, right? But God gives you grace, correct? I'm not a preacher. I'm not trying to preach, but I'm just, telling what it is, right? But it's a show that I used to watch all the time called Supernatural. It's no longer on air anymore. They do still play the reruns of it. And that show used to talk about demons and angels and warlocks and witches all the time. And, it became a popular show. At first, it wasn't all that popular. Folks was just overlooking and saying, oh, this is another show that's bringing up this and bringing up that. That is not real. Okay. But when you see things in the supernatural that becomes, was really in the spiritual form, but it end up coming into the natural, you be like, oh, okay. Because there's a lot of things that happen in this world that we can't explain, and scientists try to debunk it, or they try to figure it out, and they still in the debunking, and they really still don't know how to explain things. Like, and the Bible teaches these things and speaks on these things about the witches and warlocks, and they say people that does black magic supposed to stay away from them at all costs, in the Bible, right? But scientists will tell you that ain't true. Nobody can do that. Nobody can really work magic and all these different things, right? But at the same time, I'm gonna go with. Let me give you an example. One example of witches and warlocks is medicine, right? How they come up with medicine for certain diseases and things of that nature. Because you got good witches too. It's not just all bad witches and bad warlocks. You got good witches as well. Because back in the days, in Africa and Indians, they worked magic. They came up with medicine that they don't sell in the stores. Because back in those days, they used to use the earth to heal you, right? And they worked magic, and it worked. They healed the sick. It help you get over certain things. It help you. So, but scientists try to debunk it all the time. They just say, hey, that ain't real. This ain't real. And I just trying to put out a video and just tell you what's real and what's right. It's still up to you what you believe in. You can do your own research and find out these things are real or not. I just know in my course of my life that stuff is real. And another thing, I'm gonna go to deja vu. Um, they try to debunk deja vu. They say it's some type of memory uh, glitch that goes in your head to make you think that you've been somewhere before and you never been there before, right? But it feels so real. You'll be first. To me, it's like three different things. For the one thing is you be like you've been at a place before. It could be a restaurant or just a city that you're on vacation with, and something triggers your brain, and you be like, "Oh man, I've been here before." Scientists can't really explain that, right? The second thing is in my dream, I had dreamed this, and then it happened. Uh, I was speaking to a person that I had never seen before, seen their whole face and everything, and I was having a conversation with that person until I end up seeing that person in real life. It didn't happen the same day. It didn't happen the next day. It happened years later. but it triggered my brain, and I was like, dang, I seen this person before. Then once that person started talking, I was like, we had this conversation before. You get me? Right? And it kind of made me step back. Third thing, right? So you got the place, you got the person. Third thing, I heard of somebody say they went somewhere on vacation and a certain music started playing, but they never heard that music before, but they did hear before in a dream, and they heard it for the first time in reality. And they were like, dang, I heard that song before. Then they go to it, and that person don't even know who you are, and they let you like where you get that song from. And they were like, dude, probably, I think that this dude said he was just playing that song randomly for the first time, right? So they can't explain that. That's supernatural. Just being honest. If you can't explain it, it's supernatural, right? But I'm gonna go back to the church. Why preachers don't preach on revelations? Because demons and angels are throughout the Bible, and they also get more and more detail when they get into the last chapter. And reason why, I got research on my phone, and it says preachers often avoid preaching on the book of Revelation because it's complex, it's epileptic. Is that the word? Anyway, we're past that. Because they talk about beasts and the Antichrist, and it makes it difficult to interpret, right? And it said pastors still clear to it because they don't want to cause division. They avoid fringe. They don't want to do fear-based interpretations, which I also said I'm not here trying to, scare anybody. And they just basically want to stick to the everyday messages, right? But to me, it has to be spoken about because they'll speak about everything else in the Bible, but they won't touch on Revelations. They have to. You have to speak on that because to me, that's the most important. It's the scariest. I'm not gonna lie. It's the scariest chapter in the book, but it's also very important because it's helping you understand what's going on in the world today, or if the world today is pretty bad, it might get even worse. Which I'm thinking is probably going to get even worse what it is right now. And that's what Revelations was talking about. You got a lot of things going on, people shooting at people. You had somebody trying to get at Trump again. I don't know if they're real or not, but it seems like a lot of people trying to get at Trump, you know. And I think that he might be making stuff up because, they don't want these Epstein files coming out. But that's a whole nother subject. That's a whole nother subject, right? But you also see, I tell people to pay attention to the storms. We see the storms going crazy. One side of the country is burning with wildfires in California. Of course, they have earthquakes. I think Hawaii just had an earthquake. Down south we were dealing with a lot of thunderstorms. Up north they were dealing with floods. A lot of different floods going on. So you just have to pay attention to what's going on around you. That's about all I'm saying. Is open your eyes. People swear they woke, they're not woke. If you are woke, you need to be woken up a little more and start making other people around you woke, right? And seeing what's real and what ain't real, right? But pastors don't preach on revelations. And like I said, I think they should. Because you got the storms, you got people talking about aliens are real. We found that is real, because the government had said the Area 51 is not real. Then, 2013, they went on to say it was real. It is an actual area. It's a location down there, and they probably do got aliens, remains, and spaceships and all type of things down there. But it's nobody can go down there. You can't even fly over there. Fly above it. It's restricted. It's a restricted area. So if that is true, aliens could be true. I believe aliens are real. And I don't think we the only living creatures out here. So that's why I believe they are real, right? because the space is so big. It got to be other. We already know there's other planets, and scientists try to debunk if any living life forms are on these other planets. But it might be some other planets past the planets that we already seen and know about. Might some more stuff be out there, right? But it's kind of funny, and scientists can't explain this either. Is why we can go. I heard one dude say we can go to space, more successfully than we can go into the ocean and be successful and see how real deep the ocean is and see what's down in the ocean, right? So I believe there are big time sea creatures in the water. I do believe in that. People have crazy stories about it. They took pictures of big squids, big sharks, and whales that are way bigger than what we already seen. So I believe that is real. Um, it's up to you if you believe it or not. That's why I'm throwing that out there. Big sea creatures, right? Um, I'm gonna go with quicksand as well. People just say quicksand wasn't real, but now quicksand is real. Uh, people do die from being in the quicksand. It's un you know there's no way you can really tell that it's there or not, until you get in it. So caves. Caves are also another a spot that's never been detected all the way. You got some caves that people die in. Some caves people can't even get out. How they get in, there's no way they can be able to get out. Uh, we got other areas like Alaska that haven't never been discovered all the way, and Antarctica that haven't been discovered all the way. We don't know. Aliens could be staying out there. We don't know. You know, aliens have more advanced spacecrafts and technology that probably cold air don't even bother them, but it bother us. That's why we can't search out the entire state of Alaska and the entire area of Antarctica. So it's just some stuff that you just can't explain. You know, you got cursed treasure. People don't believe in it. People don't believe in cursed treasure. I do believe in cursed treasure, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because demons latch themselves to objects as well. I learned that throughout my years being on this earth. They do latch themselves to certain things. So if you buy it and you got it in your house, then you start seeing different paranormal activity in your house because that demon is latched to the item you just bought out of somebody's house. That's why some people also tell you not to buy uh, uh, like engagement rings and wedding rings out of pawn shops because there's a reason why them rings are in there. That marriage did not work, and you going in and buying them folks rings, and now your relationship and marriage is not gonna work out. You're supposed to buy stuff that's brand new. It's just certain stuff gotta buy brand new. I understand some people want to go on the cheap side and try to save some money. Yeah, but that right there, you shouldn't go cheap on that. You know, that's just me. But cursed treasure, I believe that is true because like I said, I think I know for a fact that demons latched on things. They do. It's just where it is. You know, just like ghosts be latched on to people's houses or they're latched on certain stuff. And people don't even pay attention to that when you're moving into a new spot, no matter it's apartment or house or whatever the case may be, or trailer. You need to bless the house. Old folks tell you need to bless the house, and that's kind of getting whatever that was in there before you, getting it out, so you can have a fresh start, clean start. It's just to me it's simple, but to other people they don't understand. They don't get it. I tell you another thing that's that can't be explained is the pyramids. The pyramids in Egypt. There was built very, very long time ago. People that still to this day don't even know how they did that. Now we got all this technology now that we can build in pretty much anything now. We can, but how did they build those pyramids back in those days when there was hardly no technology, and it was slaves. It was slaves that built that. You know, you can't explain it. You can't explain it. Some people say that probably aliens did that. I don't know if aliens did it or not. I don't know, but I do want to know, be like, who did that? How they did that? You get it? I mean, I'm finna go on. I'm finna give you another one. People talked about. I thought it was a city called Atlantis, but I think they say it was a continent or whatever. That was underwater, right? It been buried underwater, and people say that's not real. I heard that as a kid. That was not real, and I as a kid was like, I don't believe that either. But as I grew older, I realized New Orleans, the city of New Orleans, it's under sea level, and it's still there. You can travel to New Orleans right now, and it's under sea level. And then years from now, they said that whole city is going to be covered in water. It's not going to be there anymore. It's going to be gone. So if that can happen, and we know that's going to happen years from now, why that ain't happened to Atlantis long, long, long time ago? Same thing with California. I've been hearing this ever since I was a kid. Earthquakes and they dealing with wildfires too, but they still deal with earthquakes. And scientists say years from now, they really don't know when, but they just say from years from now, California is gonna break off. It's gonna break off the mainland and kind of just wither in the Pacific. And then people say, well, it should be an island then, won't it? No, it's probably gonna sink. It's gonna sink, and there's gonna be no more California. But we really don't know, until it happens, right? You don't know these things, all right? So those two things you can't explain. All right, so I'm gonna go to the next. Vampires. This is something that a lot of people talk about. It was vampires in the Supernatural movie, show as well. I think vampires are a myth, but you do have the Illuminati do rituals by drinking human blood, right? They do this. You see them in black gowns and hoodies and things of that nature, and they sit down to have a meeting. They doing a ritual and they drinking human blood. So technically, that is a vampire. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. Hey, don't get at me. I'm just telling you. Now, one thing, this is another thing that people try to debunk you too, and this is going on in this day right here. It's cloning. Is cloning real? I believe cloning is real. We have so much technology now that we're creating robots. They call them humanoids now, of robots that can look like people. And I don't know where they're getting the human skin to put on the robot. That's one thing. But cloning is supposed to be a real human. So it could be another wheel somewhere else. It could be another you somewhere else. Right? I believe that is real. And I believe it's real because rich people are trying to figure out how to live forever. They don't want to die. Everybody doesn't want to die. So they're trying to figure out ways to live longer or carry one body. They live in one body and go into another body. I think there's a way of them trying to do that, cloning, right? All right. Let me go to another one that says people say it's not real. Dinosaurs. They say dinosaurs not real. Dinosaurs, scientists will tell you they were real because they got bones, they got fossils, they in all these different type of museums and things of that nature. And to me, I believe that it was real, and I still believe dinosaurs live today. And I know I'm laughing at myself, but if you're laughing at me, okay. But we got animals who are supposed to be alive back then are still alive now. And I looked this up. They say chickens were alive. when dinosaurs was alive. We got sparrows and eagles, right? And you know, right now, if you get caught doing anything to an eagle, they catch you. You going to prison. You're gonna do some jail time behind there doing those, doing something to an eagle, right? Another one. You got crocodiles and snakes, alligators. They was around, when the dinosaurs was around, right? That's proven. That is proven, right? And I think a couple other animals. He had the saber-tooth tiger. We got tigers. It's kind of branched off too. It's not exactly like a saber-tooth tiger, but it's something like a tiger. It's just something like it. It's another animal I can't pronounce, but those are animals, those dinosaurs. They had the very, very long necks, right? And they just eat off the trees. What animal does that right now? Giraffes. Is the giraffe a dinosaur? It's probably a distant cousin of that animal that I can't pronounce. You know, I'm just throwing this out there. These are different theories. Just throwing that out there. Komodo dragon. That's a real animal, and that was a dinosaur. It's a big time lizard that can eat little small things like a cat and something like that. They can eat stuff. Mouse, rats, Komodo dragon. They're real. Sharks. Sharks was alive around that time, right? Uh, the what is it, triceratops? I'm from the south. I'm tongue tied. I can't really pronounce that word, but you know what I'm talking about. That type of dinosaur. They had the horns on it. What animal right now has those type of horns? Right, that's living today. Rhino. Rhino is not too far off from the animal I can't pronounce. Right. I'm just throwing things out here, man. You had a shoebill stork. Was a bird. Used to run around on land. That animal still exists. You know, you got the emus. Uh, oh man, what is this? The cassowary bird. Cassowary. That does the same thing. The ostriches. Yeah, the ostriches. They do the same thing. All those animals are real. They still live. So you can say dinosaurs are real. But people still don't believe in all this stuff. I'm just basically saying, what you believe in. You can believe whatever you want. You can do your own research on this stuff. I know I'm not a scholar. I'm not a preacher. I know all these things. I'm just a blue collar guy. I work in a plant, an automotive plant. That's what I do for a living. And I created my own platform. And I'm just throwing this out here to people. You probably need to ask one of your preachers why they don't be preaching on, revelations. It would help a lot of people if they did. Um, it's not a scare tactic, just being real, because I think a lot of this stuff is real. Some stuff is not real. I don't know about mermaids and things of that nature because they also fall upon Atlantis, right? I don't know. That's kind of far fetched, but who knows? It probably is real because I do believe these other things are real. I know demons and angels are real. I know witches and warlocks are real. I know sea creatures are real. I do believe aliens are real. If they weren't real, they wouldn't have never came up with a Area 51. It'd be a waste of time for the government. They tell you this stuff is not real, so you can just go on your merry way. But they leaving you in the blind, so what if you get abducted? You know, they say a lot of stuff ain't real. You know, and they try to debunk it with science, but scientists still don't know what the hell is in the ocean. So science can only go so far. They don't know what all is in space. They don't know. Then you got people that say, hey, they don't believe until they see it. And then you got things that's right here in your face and they still don't see it. Still don't believe it. Hey, this is all I got, man. I'm just throwing theories out here to you. I know I'm not the best speaker on things, but I'm just throwing it out here. You know. Until the next time, I'll see you around. Peace.